Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of criticism, and people said, well, that proves he's a huge idiot from a, look, he bought it for whatever, $44 billion, and now it's worth like 8 cents. And
it's not worth 8 cents.
But there's that. But it was essentially to buy freedom of expression.
Let me start out by saying this. If I offend anybody today, I don't give a shit. Don't care. The media in the back room, I'm sure I'll be reading a lot of hit pieces on me tomorrow. I don't give a shit what you think about me.
You're listening. Yeah, like all the time I'm listening.
WATP with Christian, Eric, and Carl sometimes.
Listen in your office, in your car, or even your neighborhood bar.
We're doing it. We're doing it. We're having fun. We're making it happen.
It's fun time. Open your mouth, close your eyes. We're going to give you a big surprise.
And here it is.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to Who Are These Broadcasters, the only show on the internet where substituting a female co-host for your regular male co-host actually leads to less sexual tension. I am Christian Blatt, happy to welcome to the first time live on this show from Unqualified Experts, Xia next Tuesday, and the Chip Chipperson Pod-a-cast, the one and only Xia Anderson. Xia Anderson, Bastille Day. Hello, my friend. How are you?
That's in that intro in so long. An Anderson Bastille Day. Goodness.
Well, and it's that's because it's been more than a year since we've done anything together.
I can't believe it's been that long.
I guilted you into doing this show because I said, people actually watch this one. So you're like, all right, I guess I'll do
The only
this
reason
one.
I said yes. Yeah, I was like, another show with you. People, okay, all right. I was sitting there, I didn't realize the intro was so long, so I'm sitting there and reading the chat. There's a lot of taint talk in the chat.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the taint chat. There is a lot of taint chat. And to be co-host on the show, you do have to show your taint at some point. No, actually, the problem is that my regular co-host, Eric Zane, once got bored by a video we were showing. So he hiked down his pants and showed his taint to the camera, which you know enough about YouTube's terms of service.
I don't think that flew very
well.
that
episode was immediately taken down and edited. So only the few, the proud, the chosen live viewers for who these broadcasters got to enjoy that. But it's definitely legendary. There's a lot of talk. Xia will never replace Easy Taint Flash. But look,
it's pretty nice as far as taints go.
I mean, compared to Eric Zane, it has to be amazing. So, there's obviously plenty of that. So people are wondering, no Eric Zane. Interestingly enough, Goody Two Shoes in the chat says, I'm doing my taxes during this. It better be good. That's one of two things Eric Zane is doing today. He's getting his taxes done, but there's also an afternoon game for one of the minor league teams that he's the big voice in the arena. So he was not able to do this. And Xia, I told you, you were the first person I asked. There was a long list. There's a long list for people after you said no, because I've asked you before. And usually you're like, no, it's been less than a year since I talked to you. So
I can do once a year tops and then we're good.
That's fine. Yeah. But so to the day, I will make sure to ask you to come on again next year. I also figured this was the only way to get you to watch this show, was to just put you on it. Xia, we appreciate you being here. Right at the top of the show, let everyone know all the places they can find you. And I do mean all the places.
All the places, all the little nooks and crannies?
Correct.
Sorry. Dude, I have a Chip soundboard. It doesn't work on Streamlabs. I'm sorry, on StreamYard, but on Streamlabs, this thing goes hard. It's beautiful. It's my baby.
Wait. You don't know what you just said.
Just said, fuck yeah. Everywhere. Zealand. It's Zealand everywhere. It's super easy to find. Zealand are all the places. There's YouTube, getting super close to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you would be so kind, I do stream there 3 nights a week, and do some extra content there as well. Movie reviews, random bullshit. Gonna have some food stuff. And then, OnlyFans and Fansly also as well. Zealand on both of those places. Twitter, Instagram, Z_land. That's pretty much it if you want to see the stuff. Grindr for sure. That's where I spend most of my time.
Right. And that's also where Eric Zane is right now. He's doing a photo shoot for Grindr.
Yeah.
And Ape Shit Media says, I subscribe to Eric's OnlyFans.
That taint pulled him right in, man. That taint just got everyone on the hook. They're like, yes.
The first taste is free. You know how it works. So our audience knows this, but I have to tell Xia. So here's the way super chats work on this show.
Okay.
The super chat with the highest US dollar amount. And I have to specify that. I don't want your tariff, loony, and toony super chats. Those don't count. My sign off at the end of the show will be whatever the highest US dollar amount is. As long as YouTube lets you send it as a super chat, I will sign off with it. And I'll remind our audience, like I do every week, this is your opportunity to literally put anything in my mouth, and I have to like it. We've had some doozies in the year and a half we've been doing this show. So I invite you to chat early, chat often, just like the great Corn Diff with $9.99, who is excited to see that it is Xia. Thank you, Corn Diff. We appreciate you being here. Now, I do have to call attention to everyone in the chat. Because Eric's not here, I'm not really going to be able to keep as close an eye on the free chat as he usually does, aka the poor chat. So look, if you want to comment on the screen, I guess you're going to have to super chat it. Everybody wins, well, except for maybe the audience. Me and Xia and Eric, we win. So before we move on, everyone needs to know that Hackmania is May 9th through the 11th in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Go to hackmania.com, use promo code WATP for 10% off tickets. If you go to whoarethese.com, you can find the number to leave us a voicemail. Just say it's for WATB, and you can join the Patreon or become a YouTube member to watch WATP record live tomorrow and every Wednesday and Saturday, plus 2 bonus episodes every month. All that being said, Xia, do you know what this past Sunday was?
The fuck was Sunday?
It was Hollywood's biggest night.
Oh, no wonder I don't know about it.
The Oscars, the Academy Awards. Did you see any of the movies that were nominated this year? There's a chance you might have seen one or two, but
I don't think so. I'm willing to bet no. I haven't seen a lot of movies this year. I used to see movies all the time. Mostly I've just been so busy that when I do get to see a movie, it's just a big Marvel disappointment.
Well, they've really excelled at that. Fingers crossed for Thunderbolts, and Daredevil's coming back tomorrow.
Daredevil's coming back tomorrow, which I just am nervous that it's going to be a watered down version of what we covered.
Right. I was
on Netflix.
Many hours talking about
the
version of Daredevil, and I have not seen it yet, but from those who have, it measures up to the old show. What I was going to say about the movies, I think that there's a movie you would like. It's called Anora. It's incredibly well done. It's the story of a whore who marries a guy whose family hates the fact that he married a whore, and they go out of their way to try to make him undo that marriage. I believe the working title of the first draft was Xia.
Oh my, I was going to say, this is like my life. This is like my life on screen. I feel like I'm going to connect so much with this character.
I think you would connect with Mikey Madison in this movie. She won Best Actress. And look, I'm glad that you realize sort of the reputation that precedes you. But for our audience that maybe doesn't know, what did your grandma used to call you?
Oh, Junior Slut. Yeah, she was a sweet lady.
And how old were you when she started calling you Junior Slut?
Like 8, 9, you know.
Right. But the important question is, was she wrong?
No. And the worst part is, this isn't even the grandma that was a dominatrix. That's the other one. Right. I didn't stand a chance, you know.
No, exactly. But we're so glad that you're here, and also on OnlyFans and Fansly.
Yay.
So this is all to set up the fact that this is what our Oscars coverage will be. You've heard of wall-to-wall coverage. This is whore-to-whore coverage. From Anora to Xia. Huh? You get it? Of course you get it. You
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah.
So let's kick off. Who are these award shows?
Who are these award shows? Who are these award shows?
So before we get into the Oscars, we have to take a quick moment, do a drive-by on the SAG Awards, which people don't care about the Oscars. They really don't care about the Screen Actors Guild Awards. However, Timothée Chalamet gave an acceptance speech for pretending to be Bob Dylan in a movie called A Great Unknown. It's a song lyric, A Great Unknown. And I want you to see just how maybe, down to earth and in touch with the common man, Timothée Chalamet seems here.
The classiest thing would be to downplay the effort that went into this role and how much this means to me. But the truth is, this was 5.5 years of my life. I poured everything I had into playing this incomparable artist, Mr. Bob Dylan. And I know we're in a subjective business, but the truth is, I'm really in pursuit of greatness. I know people don't usually talk like that, but I want to be one of the greats. I'm inspired by the greats. I'm inspired by the greats here tonight. I'm as inspired by Daniel Day-Lewis, Marlon Brando, and Viola Davis as I am by Michael Jordan and Michael Phelps, and I want to be up there. So I'm deeply grateful to that. This doesn't signify that, but it's a little more fuel. It's a little more ammo to keep going.
Not.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so it does not signify that you are up there with the greats in any way, shape, or form. So, but nice to invoke Michael Jordan there. That's
Yeah, why do you have to bring sports guys into it? I guess it's a different level of different type of entertainment.
Yeah.
But it's not. I don't see how those two things equate to each other. That was a really odd comparison there. And look, you can be a good actor and be incredibly passionate about your craft, and that's fine. But just the way he delivered that speech was, oof.
Well, again, and the reason why I shared is I have to point out is he did not win the Academy Award for Best Actor. Adrien Brody did. That's the SAG Award. So it's almost like like holding up the championship flag when you won the wild card in baseball, or you won a playoff game in the NFL. You did win something, so I did think it was funny the way that he was kind of beating his chest over it. It was not well received north of the border. There's a show up there called The Social, which is kind of like The View, but because it's Canada, you lose 40% in the exchange rate.
These hustle, but Timothy, that should have stayed in your journal, my friend.
Hey.
Inside thoughts. I'm sorry, Timothy. There's inside thoughts and outside thoughts, and he just blurted it out, and I just thought to myself, "You little brat."
Really?
And I felt that if my daughter went up there and said something like that, I'd be like, to quote one Kendrick Lamar, "Be humble." Here's the thing with acting. It's not like a sport where you can rack up.
Had me until she said, quote Kendrick Lamar. Then she lost me.
Yeah, I did. What I love about this clip is how much the other Canadian yentas seem to think she's hysterical. She's literally the funniest person that they know.
But she also didn't write that. That's what annoys me about that stuff, is that they just have you on for probably because you're loud, I suppose. Yeah. And then they write jokes for you and you say them like you're funny, but you're not. And it's fine. But I don't know. Does anybody actually watch those shows? They're still on TV. The View, how the fuck is that still on?
I have a clip from The View a little bit later. They're still on, but I think that what it comes down to is that they don't know what else to put on. What are you going to replace it with? And yeah, I think there's an age demographic that still watches some of those. Believe it or not, Xia, there's an age demographic that's even older than me.
Oh my God, I didn't know that existed.
It's people even more dried up and shriveled than I am. So let's move it along to the actual Oscars telecast. It was hosted by Conan O'Brien, and full disclosure, I'm a huge fan of Conan. If he's hosting something, I'm going to want to take a look at it. My first whiff of any kind of job in entertainment was a scant 28 years ago when I interned at Late Night with Conan O'Brien. I think he did a great job for the most part, but some of us who grew up with Conan and also grew up with Adam Sandler, there's people who didn't love this. Maybe I'm blinded by it, so I want to know what you think of this, Xia.
Wearing.
What are you doing right now?
I forgot to set up that he's talking to Adam Sandler in the audience at the Oscars. That would have been helpful, especially for our audio audience. You heard that voice. You probably recognized him.
Yeah, and I do have to say, I love what Adam Sandler is wearing. This is what I love about him. He dresses like a complete bum, and he doesn't give a fuck. And I actually very much appreciate that, especially at the Oscars, where everyone, who is that woman in front of him? Lord.
I'm not sure, but I think she's half of a Dank DeMoss for our audience out there.
What are you wearing?
What are you doing right now?
I'm asking you what you're wearing.
Nobody even thought about what I was wearing till you brought it up.
You're dressed like a guy playing video poker at 2 a.m., Adam.
You know what, Conan? I like the way I look, because I'm a good person. I don't care about what I wear or what I don't wear. Did my snazzy gym shorts and fluffy sweatshirt offend you so much that you had to mock me in front of my peers?
Okay, I'm sorry. Adam, I apologize.
I'm going. I'm going to go off. I go. Yeah, I'm leaving. I have to. It's not you. No, it's not you. It's him.
All right. So, the bit is going on. He's getting tossed out because he's pretending to be offended by Conan. Obviously, these guys have been friends for, 35 years.
Rehearsed this. They planned it. Yeah.
So one person who did not enjoy this is my regular co-host, Eric Zane. He actually sent it to me, and I was like, I don't know. I thought it was fun. Is it because I like these guys that I'm blinded to how cringy this is, Xia?
You know what? I actually have to agree with Eric on this one. Yeah, this is pretty cringy. This is not funny at all. It's very clearly planned and in a way that's not, and he's doing that quintessential Adam Sandler voice that I'm actually not a fan of in every scenario. And here I don't like it.
Well, no, look, of course I appreciate the honesty there. And that is exactly what Eric Zane said. And that's basically where I'm at with it, is that I love Sandler does his two voices and Conan's just there. I'm like, oh, Adam, there you go. All right. Well, there's one more part to this interaction that I need to share. It's a callback to something else. But before Sandler runs out, he runs down towards the front and spies one Timothy Chalamet.
Chalamet!
So Timothy Chalamet's playing along. Yeah. Well, it's a callback to something that we covered on this very show back to the Golden Globes is actually when this happened. And it's Hollywood loves nothing more than referencing Hollywood.
At playing these like beloved eccentrics. Dylan, Willy Wonka. Who's next? Adam Sandler? Please. Actually, your name sounds like something Adam Sandler would say. Chalamet. Timothy and Chalamet. Oh, yes, Timothy Chalamet. I think Sandler's here. Sandler, can I get a Chalamet?
Chalamet.
Oh, Chalamet.
All right, so it was so funny when it happened back in January with Nikki Glaser. Let's go ahead and do that with Conan. Or do you maybe have a different thought on that, Xia?
I didn't like any of that. I didn't like any of that at all. How did she end up so ingrained in Hollywood stuff? I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree. I do think she's funny, but
I do.
Yeah, well, we would play some. She was doing these like NFL halftime Thursday night football things, and they were really bad. I thought she did okay. There would be a couple of jokes. It's one of those things that it's an ongoing debate on this show. Is Nikki Glaser funny? Let us know in the chat. But again, it's kind of got to be the super chats because I'm so busy showing these clips that I don't even know what's going on in the chat. But so yeah, I thought that that was, to me, that was funny. But here's the thing, Xia, you, Eric Zane, did not think either of those things were funny. So what you probably are not going to appreciate is Conan promising the audience that he's not going to waste their time, and then immediately goes into a production number about how he wasn't going to waste their time.
Waste time. He won't waste time. I won't waste time. He won't waste time. Why would I waste time? It's such an audacious Now, for no good reason, Sandworm from Doom 2 playing chopsticks on the piano.
Why?
You having any kind of microphone discomfort or issues, Xia? I haven't heard the laughs that I've been expecting.
This is terrible. This is so bad. This just solidifies the reason why I've never really been into award shows.
Sure, of course.
Mostly because typically the movies that are up for awards, it's not always the type of movie that I'm interested in. Yeah. Unless it's going to be like a Lord of the Rings-esque movie. Marvel's not really getting nominated for much typically. And it's not to say that there aren't other types of movies that I enjoy and that some of them aren't decent movies or good movies, but I just don't care. And so when you add the not care, to me, it's just a giant circle jerk. It's just a bunch of actors being like, oh my God, we're so good. Oh, we're all so good at this. And they clap for each other and they all make millions and millions of dollars and they take home these awards. It's just obnoxious. All we want is good art and good movies to watch, and they can save the rest of that. I mean, maybe some people are interested in this. Maybe some people are watching it. I don't know. I don't give a shit. And then there's stuff like this where they burst into a fucking musical number. And you know how I feel about musicals.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
There's just no part of me that would want to waste any of my time on this. This is awful.
Well, Conan's promising that he's not going to waste your time. Let's see if he wins you over with one more bit to this.
Hey, check it out. Someone who's not even nominated. Dancing Deadpool. right time.
Did Dancing Deadpool do it for you?
You know, that would be the one thing that would bring me in, but no.
They'd already
It's
lost you by
still-
this point, hadn't they?
It's
Zia?
I turned it off already. It's done.
By the way, just so you know, they did a callback to the sandworm from Dune later in the show, and it was a Juilliard trained harpist.
Oh,
so
good.
referring back to the joke, I think always helps, right?
Yeah, no, keep calling back to it. Explain it. If they explain it,
Well,
that also helps.
If you don't explain it, how's anybody going to know it's funny?
how are they going to know?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
That's why after this show, I always explain all of mine and Eric's jokes to
Mhm.
everyone in the chat.
Mhm.
What do you think of Kieran Culkin? Do you enjoy him as an actor? And this is not Macaulay, not Rory. This is from the TV show on HBO that I all of a sudden forgot, Succession. And he was in a movie called The Real Pain. Do you find him interesting or charming?
I've never seen him in anything in my life.
Okay. Well, what if I tell you that the moment that he gets to accept his award for Best Supporting Actor, he swears instantly, and it gets bleeped on ABC, but thanks to the international community of X, we can share this moment in all of its profane glory.
Oh.
Even know, Mr. Downey, sir, this, thanks for handing this to me. This means a lot coming from you. Thank you. He's right, by the way, Jeremy, you're amazing in The Apprentice. I loved your work. It's fucking, I cursed. There we go. I
And they
cursed. I
said it
didn't mean
again.
to.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. So, all right. So do you feel like that wins you over, that he's like, yeah, I fucking cursed on the show?
Yeah, no, I like that because it's just, I think what's so frustrating about Hollywood is, that the people speaking as themselves, it's still not actually them. You never get to see the real them. I think a lot of the times because actors, and I'm just, speculating, obviously, don't really have much of a personality of their own.
That's fair. Yeah.
You see it a lot. You watch interviews with some actors and you're like, wow, you're really fucking dull. You're a great actor, but you're really boring.
We might have one of those a little bit later.
Oh,
Someone who's a
fun.
good actor, but very boring. Yes.
Super boring. Yeah, they have no actual personality. But when you do see someone authentically being themselves, it's just a nice change of pace. It's obnoxious to watch people constantly being polished and reading things that are written for them. And it's just nice to see someone being like, fuck. That's just a very human thing. And it was kind of nice. I liked that.
Well, let's see. It might get a little too human here when
no.
he shares an anecdote about his wife.
Goes on a stage like this, and I very stupidly publicly said that I want a third kid from her because she said if I won the award, she would give me the kid. It turns out she said that because she didn't think I was going to win. But and people came up to her and were like, really annoying her. I think it got to her. But anyway. After the show, we're walking through a parking lot. She's holding the Emmy. We're trying to find our car. Emily, you were there, so you're a witness. And she goes, oh, God, I did say that. I guess I owe you a third kid. And I turned to her and I said, really, I want 4. And she turned to me. I swear to God this happened. It was just over a year ago. She said, I will give you 4 when you win an Oscar.
Okay, so that's a big crowd-pleasing Hollywood anecdote. Like, oh my God, you won the Emmy and you won the Oscar. Now she has to spit out 2 more kids. Do you find this anecdote uncomfortable? Are you just horrified about the miracle of childbirth? Let me know what you're thinking, Xia.
This is all terrible. This is all, he lost me completely again. Why do we hear about how many kids he has? That's a lot of kids, by the way. 4.
4 is, I have
Please.
2. 4 is way too many. Like way too many.
That is too many children. But yeah, it's just an interesting being like, she's gonna let me come inside her.
Well, there's a lot of ways around that as well. Yeah, but at least 2 more times.
At least twice more. I don't know. The whole thing is just very, very strange. That was a weird story. That was an awkward story.
It's what was considered a very cute story in the room and through certain circles. But I was like, oh, I know who's going to hate this story. Xia is not going to want to hear about a poor wife who has kind of gotten bullied into bearing 2 more children after already doing 2. You know what I mean? This isn't the first 2. Yeah, no, 4 is definitely too many. And I don't know how many Culkin genes we need out there. You know, it's kind of hit or miss with the Culkins so far.
Yeah, you know, I'm really liking Macaulay. You know, I feel like I'm happy for his comeback. He had a baby with that smoking hot Asian chick. And they seem really happy
you're thinking of me.
The smoking hot Asian chick, yes. Comeback, not so much.
Yeah, that's true. It's really you can't stop the freight train heading downhill. By the way, Apeshit Media with €2. Have some euros. Great, thank you. I know that's almost as good as dollars, but of course, still at the top of the food pyramid is of course our friend Corndiff with $9.99, and Hamilton Burger. Member for 1 month. I got here late. Why is Eric Zane a hot babe? I mean, I like it, but it is a bit of a big change. That said, I like what he did with his/her place. Yes, Eric has gone through some changes, but the
I grew my hair out.
Yeah,
got
exactly.
some boobs. They're very large. They're very heavy.
I know. Larger than the last time I saw you, actually. And much larger than when we used to do shows together.
Oh my God, they were just baby boobs then.
But you were a full-grown woman. I think it's important to point out that you were, you were. Well, let's not say how old you were, but you were an adult.
I was an adult woman. Yes.
Yeah. So I like sharing awkward moments from anything. That's kind of what this show is built on. And there was something incredibly uncomfortable, more uncomfortable than Jazz Culkin having to allow Kieran to jizz inside of her twice more. So something incredibly uncomfortable. This happened during an award that even people watching didn't care about. The award for Best Animated Film Short. So not the cartoons that people actually see, but the short film. This is a film exactly. This is a film from Iranian filmmakers called In the Shadow of the Cypress. Xia, I know you saw it, obviously, because you're such a cinephile.
Yeah,
I'll summarize it for everyone in our audience. Quote, living in a house by the sea with his daughter, a former captain who has post-traumatic stress disorder leads a tough and secluded life, unquote. Hilarious. I can't wait to show that to my kids.
What the fuck?
It's a cartoon.
Okay.
But they're Iranian, so in a way it kind of makes sense. So the filmmakers from Iran, I can't even say the country right, so I'll really trip over their names. Shirin Sohani and Hossein Molayami. They had kind of a charming, harrowing story about they only got approved for their visas the day before. They got into LAX like 3 hours before the moment they're standing on stage. I think it was an opportunity to have kind of a teachable moment, some togetherness, and maybe acceptance among some very different cultures. And really, most importantly, Xia, they could have shown that the Middle East is so much more advanced than people think it is, that men and women are equals. Instead, we got this.
It's a miracle. It's a miracle, and speaking in front of this expectant audience is very hard for us. So I think we can...
Okay.
So he hands her the phone.
We're going to dedicate our film and this... Oh, no. Oh, my God. It's your turn.
She hands it back to him.
It's your turn.
This is your turn, but this is the first paragraph.
Just the fact that we managed to make this film under the extraordinary circumstances of our country is a miracle. And yes, if we persevere and remain faithful, miracle do happen.
No.
Oh my God.
He's taking the phone from her.
Let me read it myself. Until yesterday, we hadn't even obtained our visa.
So she read the wrong paragraph. And instead of, letting her maybe finish that paragraph and be like, okay, well, I'll read this first one that was supposed to go first. He just takes it from her. And there'll be no woman-splaining on the Oscars tonight, honey.
I was going to say, he was like, and this is why we give no rights in our country.
Right, exactly.
This is why.
I hope that she stayed in the U.S. because if she went back to Iran, she was probably had a bunch of rocks thrown at her. And as much as I like the idea of you being hit with rocks, I don't know that this filmmaker deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want it. Not every woman.
No,
right?
no.
Yeah.
It's just you.
Just me. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. To Wired Christian with $2. Open farm, Zealand.
I would love, I know this is not what he's saying, but I would love a farm. I want mini horses. I want raccoons. I would like some ducks. There's going to be a duck pond back there. I want to get rich enough to have a farm. That is my goal in life.
I think that you're clearly well on your way to hashtag that farm life. So
with these milkers, hell yeah. All right. Sorry.
I'm glad you said it. Because we were all thinking it. So, look, an award show isn't an award show without putting two people that have no business being on stage together, giving them a script that they haven't read, and said, great, head out there and make it funny. And in the spirit of that, I present Miley Cyrus and Miles Teller.
A testament to the work done by the mixers, the engineers, the designers, the editors. I could go on and on.
I think you nailed it. That's a perfect description, Miley.
Sound is what I do, Miles.
I love your sound. You are sound.
Thank you.
Any notes on this interaction?
That was also terrible. Who they have writing this stuff? Do they just hire the most unfunny humans on the planet and they're like, yes, write this comedy, and then someone reads that and they're like, this is really funny, let's do this.
Yeah, so the hosts, having known people who've worked for Oscar hosts, they'll bring some of their writers. Usually they have a show, like it's been Kimmel for a lot of years, Jon Stewart did it a few times. They'll bring some of the writers from their show, mostly for like their comedy. I think this stuff gets written by, some second tier of writers. And I don't know anybody who could have made this funny had they delivered these lines. But also I have to ask an important question to our visual audience. What in the hell happened to Miley Cyrus?
Yeah, that's a good question. Did she get some weird work done, or her eyes look strange? Her whole face looks strange.
Yeah, I mean, I think that she's gone from Hannah Montana to Hannah Manitoba, which is a joke that'll kill. If Cardiff heard that, he probably chuckled. But yeah, it's very painful to watch people who, they'll probably never stand that close to each other ever again,
Yeah.
And but what I will say is that as awkward and as bad as that was, Zia, he had better chemistry with Miley Cyrus than he did with Kate Mara in that Fantastic Four movie that they did together.
I've still not watched that movie. There's a
good for
small
you.
part of me that wants to, because what I did watch for the first time in a Discord. We do a monthly Discord movie watch along,
Okay.
which has been really fun. And usually we'll do some fun movies. We did The Big Lebowski because it's been a hot minute since I've seen it.
Yeah, sure.
Still a great movie. But the last one we did was chosen by one of my mods, and we watched Madam Web, and I had never seen Madam Web.
Oh, you were in for a treat. I wish I'd known. I would have just watched along in the Discord. I didn't need a link to be on or anything. I would have loved to have seen that.
No, we didn't even live stream it. It was just in the
I see.
Discord.
Just
So
in the
I'll
Discord.
send you the next time, because
Yeah. I saw Madam Web in the theater, and it was really something,
boy, let me tell you.
Dakota Johnson has the chemistry of a wet paper bag that's sat out in the room for a few days.
She's very pretty. But
Yeah. But as I always say when that movie comes up, and anytime anybody talks about Dakota Johnson, she's a very distant third in terms of acting ability in her household. Obviously, Don Johnson, Melanie Griffith.
Yeah, right.
She's just so, she's somehow like fifth, and she doesn't have any siblings.
But what's funny? So what I did see in theaters was Craven. I did watch Craven in theaters. We haven't talked Marvel in such a long time.
I
feel
know.
like.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everybody who's not a
I
nerd
know,
watching
I
this
apologize.
show. This is really what we did for so many years.
So
and
many years.
It's how we got to know each other. Yeah.
Yeah. But good Lord, Craven was, to me, worse than Madam Web.
And well, because Madam Web at least had the decency to be 90 minutes.
It had the decency to be 90 minutes. Exactly. And I was watching Craven in theater, and there were points where I was just laughing. I was just laughing at how bad it was. The writing. And I know Aaron Taylor Johnson's a good actor. So it was just disappointing. I don't know what happened. It was awful. It was so awful.
It was a very terrible movie. 2024 was a banner year for terrible filmmaking. I don't know how they were able to find all these movies to celebrate at the Oscars.
What did they celebrate besides the horror movie?
I talked about, speaking of the horror movie, I talked about Anora earlier. It was the big winner. So Sean Baker won for Best Picture, writing, directing, even editing it. So it's really like the most independent of independent movies. And literally the only movie talked about that I'd recommend anybody watch. Any movie that was talked about there, even Dune 2. I couldn't stay awake for Dune 1. I didn't need to see Dune 2. I don't know where you come in on Dune, Xia, but I
actually did enjoy both movies.
All right. Well,
I haven't read the books yet, though.
Well, you let me know when that changes, that you read the books of Dune. So in one of Sean Baker's multitude of speeches, he said something. I just need this little tiny clip. And is this something that should be said at every year at the Oscars, probably every award show, and maybe even every Hollywood party?
I want to thank the sex worker community.
It doesn't matter what he said after that. The sex worker community is a very important part of Hollywood. By the way, Xia, do you know any good OnlyFans accounts for people that would like to support hardworking content creators? Some of whom are whores, some of whom are not. You know, some of them are, some of them aren't. Anywhere people should look on OnlyFans?
I mean, look, if you really want to see a horse taint, no, I do have an OnlyFans. It's Zealand on OnlyFans.
Of course, everything is Zealand.
And Zealand everywhere. Fansly as well.
Oh, yes. And Hamilton Berger said, Madam Web managed to take 3 hot women undesirable. I mean, honestly, that's the biggest crime of that movie, as terrible as it was. They had Sydney Sweeney in that movie, and they put her in like a very loose sweatshirt. There's one scene where she's in like a leather superhero costume. It's like 2 seconds.
But they made her boobs look smaller. Yeah. They smushed her boobs down.
Yeah, which you find that offensive because you worked really hard to have big boobs.
I did. I went through 2 surgeries. I saved a lot of money. I don't know why on earth you would do that, especially to someone who has such naturally beautiful testicles.
Right, exactly. So, look, I give a lot of credit to Conan. You know, hosting an award show like this is somewhat of a thankless task. And sometimes you're able to deliver a joke that, it's the perfect joke for this room at the perfect moment in time. This wasn't as preachy as the Oscars had been sometimes, but let me know if you think, as somebody watching this for the first time, that the reaction from the showbiz elite is the way people feel about this joke.
Nora's having a good night. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great news. 2 wins already. I guess Americans are excited to see somebody finally stand up to a powerful Russian.
Yeah, Putin. The Vladimir Putin. Yes. All right. Well, because I'm a Conan cuck, I'm gonna try and cleanse the palate and give a joke that was an actual home run, not like a home run, Kumia. No, an actual home run.
Well, we're halfway through the show, which means it's time for Kendrick Lamar to come out and call Drake a pedophile.
All right, that was okay.
Don't worry, I'm lawyered up.
So, fun fact about that joke: the writer, his name is Skylar Higley. He bet the producer $50 that joke would kill, and it did. So, in addition to making 6 figures to write for the Oscars, he got an extra $50. So.
Oh, look at that! Good for him. Yeah. That was okay. It wasn't bad. It did make me laugh though. It gave me a smile. It was a smile joke. So I don't know if I'd say it's a home run.
Okay. So but it's a broken bat single that there's a couple of errors on the play and turns into an inside the park home run. All right. I'm going to
pretend like I understood.
No, that's for the men in the audience.
Okay,
You're just basically that Iranian female filmmaker.
Yeah.
Right, I just took the cell phone from you. All right. Well, I've got one last joke delivery. there's a moment where some Los Angeles firefighters read some jokes. And I'd honestly say that this delivery is better than every single one of those Nikki Glaser Thursday Night Football jokes that I referenced earlier that Eric and I watched throughout the season. You tell me.
Well, our hearts go out to all of those who have lost their homes. And I'm talking about the producers of Joker 2.
That was that face. I like that. That my favorite is when they go into the audience and that face. That to me, that's what I like when they make a joke. My favorite is just anytime they have Ricky Gervais there, and then they go to the audience shots. Oh, those are the best. I watch that every time. Just that part though.
No, Ricky Gervais doing the Golden Globes.
He's the only one that
I do. Those show up on YouTube in my algorithm, and sometimes I'm like, you know what? I got 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and watch him making fun of Mel Gibson to his face.
Scarlett Johansson still looks fantastic.
Best delivery of the night. All right.
Best delivery of the night. I'm sorry, I thought there was something else after that, but that's all right. we got to look at Scarlett Johansson.
You guys, look at the joke was okay, but Scarlett Johansson, she's
right, exactly.
She's 42. She looks fucking good.
Oh, all right. Well, I don't want to ever look at her again. I didn't realize that. All right. So I need to get your opinion on this. So Quincy Jones passed away, and to pay tribute, co-stars from The Color Purple, Whoopi Goldberg and Oprah Winfrey came out. And I want you to give me your honest reading on the vibe between these two luminaries of entertainment.
Changed forever and for the better after meeting him. He actually discovered me for The Color Purple, which was my first film. Yeah.
That was very begrudging.
So the way that Whoopi's like, yeah, oh yeah, and
she's like, oh, that's right. I'm supposed to be excited about this.
Yeah.
Oh
and
yeah.
then she has this.
Me too.
And she's like, yeah, I'm in it. So neither of them won an Oscar for it, which we'll find out more about. But what do you think about that interaction? Do you think that Whoopi enjoyed being on stage with Oprah there and Oprah making the tribute to Quincy Jones about her?
Yeah, that was my first movie. And then she just stops. So everyone can, and you can tell that Whoopi was like, oh, fuck, that's right. I'm supposed to be reacting to things here. Also, what the hell was that trash bag she was wearing?
We'll get to the trash bag. That's
Jesus.
a separate clip in a moment. I want to share a reaction to that interaction. This is from the Megyn Kelly show. In this clip, my pal Christian Toto from Hollywood and Toto, who I believe interviewed you once.
He did. He was lovely.
Yeah, for 10 years, he was the co-host for my Oscar night wrap-up shows on my podcast, The Blackcast. Until yesterday, he told me a couple weeks ago he wouldn't be able to talk about the Oscars because he was on a family vacation. And yet, look who's sitting here with Megyn Kelly.
You can see Whoopi like kind of pull away from her while she starts talking about herself and The Color Purple. Oprah.
Which, to be fair, and I love Christian, no hard feelings. It probably came up after the fact. Look, if Megyn Kelly asked, I would leave this show right now, and Xia would play clips for the rest of the time that we're here.
1,000%. I would also ditch you for Megyn Kelly.
Right, exactly.
No problem.
Yeah, exactly. So Christian kind of talks about that we kind of have to remember Whoopi Goldberg because people really think of her from The View. And there's something that we should keep in mind.
Seeing Whoopi Goldberg outside The View is a little refreshing because you do.
It's a great point. She was tremendous in Next Generation.
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. It's really gone downhill. The View ruined her.
Well, I think that this is a room that's going to agree with you.
You know, seeing Whoopi Goldberg outside The View is a little refreshing because you do remember she did have talent back in the day, and she is actually a good actress and a good performer. You catch her in The View, and
you're so
it's
right.
Shocking.
You forget that she actually is a very good actress. She was great. And I remember Jumpin' Jack Flash. I loved that movie.
Jumpin' Jack Flash, because that's what Whoopi Goldberg wants to be remembered for.
That was so fun. And then, of course, Ghost, she was wonderful in that.
And hey, Megan, is there a movie that she's renowned for that there's no chance in hell you've ever seen?
And not to mention The Color Purple.
Oh, yeah. Not to mention The Color. Yeah, there's no way you saw
I've never seen The Color Purple or Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Jumpin' Jack Flash is great. You should
Is
see
it?
it.
Okay.
Bobcat Goldthwait's in it with her. So
all
that's
right.
how
Sign me up.
you're like, wait a minute, you finally sold me. I don't know if I want to see that horror movie, but Jumpin' Jack Flash with Whoopi and Bobcat. So you were talking about what Whoopi was wearing, and I'm glad that you did notice that it's
that?
very questionable. So here's Whoopi talking about her experiences at the Oscars the next day on the echo chamber that is The View.
That dress.
Yeah.
Best dress of the evening.
Okay. Just because she's your friend and
Get-
you work for her, don't lie
get
to her on
out.
national television. I mean, for our audio audience, how would you describe that, Xia?
I don't even know. She looks like an alien wearing a black plastic wrap. It's bizarre.
I would say her, you mentioned Next Generation. Her outfit as Guinan with the weird hat wasn't as if she had showed up in that, it would have looked better than this.
Yes, I agree. I actually agree. But I feel like this is most fashion.
Yeah.
99% of the time, it's something hideous. I don't really understand actual fashion in the fashion industry. It almost never looks good. I mean, what's her face showed up in a dress made of meat.
Well,
So,
Lady Gaga, which
yeah.
I respect that as someone who likes meat.
I like meat too, but I don't know if I want to put raw meat on my body. She had to smell so bad afterwards.
If there's enough of super chat, or anything on one of your streams, maybe I've seen some of those streams. I have to turn my eyes away.
Yeah, I might do that.
So a raw meat stream coming up over at Zealand. Let's listen to Whoopi's coworkers lying to her more.
Best dress.
Listen to that audience.
Would you like to have a pocket?
What number? A vision.
Yeah, it's Christian Seriano did my dress.
So the designer's name is Christian, so you know he's an asshole.
Yeah, that's where that was her first mistake. She worked with
And
someone named Christian.
You know, he can put me in anything and then pull something and then paste something and then I look fly.
And then she looks fly. Let me know in the chat, how fly does Whoopi Goldberg look? And by the way, special thanks to Bo Beardington, gifted one Who Are These Podcasts membership. If you've been gifted a membership or if you sign up, you will indeed get to watch Who Are These Podcasts record live Wednesdays and Saturdays. You get 2 bonus episodes and all kinds of special content from Carl and everybody over there at Who Are These Podcasts. Thank you, Bo Beardington. And I await, I'm going to go ahead and venture into the poor chat for a second. My buddy Raging Rhino says Jeff Goldblum fly, maybe.
God, that movie scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Fly eating shit fly, Dwyer Christian. So, you know what? Thank you, poor chat. I knew that you guys weren't going to let me down. So I'm glad that I popped in over there. I know that we've already spent most of this hour on the Oscars, but there's so many clips that I need to show. And if we were to have stopped early, I would not have been able to show you this really awkward introduction. This is the introduction to the pre-show. This is Juliette Hough talking about the location where the Oscars take place.
We gather in celebration of the Oscars on the ancestral lands of the Tongva, Tataviam, and Chumash peoples, the traditional caretakers of this water and land.
So she wants you to know the Native American peoples whose land this was built on. Now, I've heard of the Chumash because they have a casino up north of Santa Barbara. I didn't know those other ones. So I was just like, okay, I guess, look, they put something in the prompter, you read it. But Megyn Kelly, to get back to her for a second, she played a clip, that same clip, and she was able to put it in a context that I wasn't, because I don't have the same chip on my shoulder. What's that? I don't have the same chip. What's that? I don't have the same chip on my shoulder that Megyn Kelly does about a certain issue.
Well, it wasn't that long ago that Julianne Hough was not quite this woke, because this is her in blackface doing an Orange is the New Black Halloween costume, 2013, which is just a few years before my comment that people used to wear these kind of costumes.
Yeah, so Megyn Kelly got fired from NBC for saying that blackface wasn't such a big deal, and just wasn't the place to say it. I might be trivializing it, but so yeah, I think Juliette Hough might still be paying some penance. You know, she's got to make up for this costume, so that might be why she's.
Isn't it interesting who they let stuff fly with, though?
Yeah.
Like some people can get away with certain things, other people can't. Sometimes it comes back to haunt them, sometimes it doesn't. It's just interesting who they choose to go after and who they choose not to.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
No, exactly. And there's a world where Juliette Hough never worked again. But look, I mean, Jimmy Kimmel, Sarah Silverman, Billy Crystal used to do blackface as Sammy Davis Jr. on Saturday Night Live.
They did blackface and oh my God, It's Always Sunny too.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's really funny.
Yeah, and yet those guys have never been canceled for anything. All
Never
right,
been canceled.
We have one more clip from the Oscars, but before we get to this Oscar clip, we need to talk about the film The Brutalist. It is a movie that is 3.5 hours long. That's with an intermission. I'll tell you right now, Xia, you don't need to ever watch this movie. But
The Brutalist?
The Brutalist. This is the movie with Adrien Brody.
Oh, the one that he won for.
The one that he won for.
Why is it always? Was he also in the Pianist?
Yes.
Was that
so
him?
it's always something
always
to
an
do with the
ist.
Holocaust.
Yeah,
Yes.
why?
There's always an ist. But there is an observation on The Brutalist from a renowned cinephile that I feel like I would be doing our audience a disservice if I didn't share this thought on The Brutalist.
You know, it's funny because The Brutalist, albeit a great movie, but the brutal part is how fucking long it is.
John's very proud of himself. That the joke that literally everyone made who saw the runtime is the first thing I said before I ever saw it. It's like that runtime's what's brutal. And poor Richard Roper said yes to being on John's show, and he's like, "Yeah, John, that's a good one, buddy." And yeah.
I didn't even make the joke because I was like, you can't.
You can't, but apparently if you're a former announcer for the Tonight Show and a former contributor to the Howard Stern Show, you sure can.
Is that Stuttering John?
That is indeed Stuttering John
Okay.
Melendez, yes.
I've heard, because, I don't like to get involved in online drama. It's just weird. It's not my thing.
Sure, yeah, of course.
But I see a lot of it on my X feed, and he's somehow always at the center of all kinds of stuff. It's always Stuttering John, and I'm like, who is this man?
There are whole networks built around covering him. This network focuses on a number of people, but John's one of them for sure.
Okay.
And we were very excited. He's done one show really this year. Well, I guess he did half a show, but he did this show, his annual Oscar picks, and I needed to jump at the opportunity. All right, so we've come to the moment that everyone in our chat's been waiting for, our last Oscar clip. As I mentioned, Adrien Brody wins Best Actor for The Brutalist. And, objectively, it is a great performance, the kind of thing you expect, like, okay, yeah, the Oscar's going to go to that. And that naturally, that leads to the kind of acceptance speech you'd expect from the Oscars. Adrien Brody set a new record for length in Oscar speech. This was 5 minutes and 40 seconds.
Holy
this
shit.
moment I'm about to play for you is in the middle of his acceptance.
Wrap up. Please turn the music off. I've done this before. Thank you. Done this before. It's not my first rodeo, but I will be brief. I will not be egregious.
He was very egregious. He spoke for 2 more minutes after this. He was incredibly egregious. He's like, please, turn the music off. I've been here before. He's like, yeah, we know. Could you just shut the fuck up? They were already like 20 minutes over at that point, and they still hadn't done Best Picture. So, what do you think about award shows acceptance speeches? Is that what do you miss? Should I have played all 5 minutes and 40 seconds, Ian?
Please don't. Please don't.
No,
There's no world where I need to have actually heard any of that. Look, the awards, I feel like are not, they're voted on, right? Like you can be part of.
Yeah, the actors are voted by other actors. And
Right,
writers
right.
vote for writers. Yes, exactly.
So they're just voted on by a bunch of their peers.
Correct,
And
yes.
that's fine, I guess. It just doesn't need to be such a big spectacle. And again, I want to be careful because I don't think that creating art is necessarily a bad thing, right?
Yeah,
We all
sure.
and all of it is very, very subjective, and we all live our lives, wanting to be entertained by various things. And that's a lot of us have made entertainment our entire life. So it's just the way they pat themselves on the back for it and act like it's something that's so serious and again, it's not that it's not important. It's just they take themselves so seriously that it just feels like too much.
It's like Timothy Chalamet. Oh, I'm sorry. Chalamet.
Chalamet. That was really funny.
Yeah, that was incredibly funny.
You keep doing that.
It's like Timothy Chalamet comparing himself to Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And yes, everything that we do is art. What I'm doing right now is art. When Xia lays down on her stream in a bikini and she sprays Hershey's chocolate syrup on her stomach, that is also art, by the way. I find it all to be art,
It's some goofy shit, but it's just I think it depends how you come at it, right? Like I hope this is the way I'm coming at it from it's something that I really, really enjoy doing. And it's just meant to be fun. It's meant to be fun for everyone involved. And if it's not something you're into, that's also fine. Just go watch something that you like. Like none of it's a big deal. Like none of this is that serious. It's just, we're meant to have fun with this, but they turn it into this.
Oh, it's super
oh my
serious.
God.
Yeah. And even in years where like there's so many great movies, this was not one of those years. You're still like, all right, I get it. Say thank you. Let's tell some jokes. Let's try and get the whole thing wrapped up in 2 hours.
Yeah. Thank your parents, whatever. And I also understand too, because I lived in LA for a long time and I knew actors or aspiring actors, and some of them tell stories about how they're living in LA out of a car, just trying to pursue their dreams. So I get that it's a cool moment for some of them where they're like, holy shit, I made it. I was living on the fucking street. So it's, and I do have a lot of respect for people who go after their goals so aggressively that they don't give it. They'll, shower at a gym and live out of a car because they, know that they're going to get that role. And then they do it. I'm very happy for them. But I think, maybe there comes a time where you.
So you appreciate the Sean Bakers and Mikey Madisons, the people who win for Anora more so than Adrien Brody, who, by the way, this wasn't his first rodeo.
It was not his first rodeo. I don't know if we knew that, but
he made sure that we all knew. All right, enough Hollywood. Just let's turn the page. You're talking about don't watch it if you don't want to. Let's give the people what they want. It's time for some motherfucking bears.
WATV, who are these bears? Who are these bears?
Yes, this is a real segment on this show, Xia.
Is it like gay bears? That's what we're talking about?
No.
No, okay.
Only when Eric Zane's here. It grew out of, we have a segment on local news, and there would be so much local news would be devoted to stories about bears coming into people's yards. So we realized that the bears were really what people were tuning in for. So we gave it its own jingle. Thanks to Doug and the Jingles department for giving us Who Are These Bears? So we're going to start off with this sweet and tender moment. It is a polar bear, mama bear with her cub.
Moment between a mother polar bear and her cub is leaving people all over the world feeling warm and fuzzy.
Okay, do you find bears cute? Can you understand, even if you don't, that, people would see this and think it's sweet?
No, bears are adorable. One of the greatest tragedies in life is the fact that bears are giant meat-eating. And polar bears are, I think I saw something recently, and I don't know if this is true at all, but they're one of the most ferocious, and they actually will hunt humans for real for sport. They're like one of the only bears that will do that. So they're terrifying.
Let's not care about that. Look how cute they are.
I know. I want to cuddle with a freaking bear. Look at them.
It's caught on camera by a wildlife photographer in Wapas National Park, located right here in Manitoba.
Shout out to Manitoba, second mention on the show. So, all right, everything about this is so sweet. Two bears rolling around and playing together right up until this moment.
Drew Hamilton was the...
You see the creep who took the picture.
He's a different kind of bear.
Yeah, he is a different kind of bear. He looks like, I don't know, maybe like a high school music teacher who would subscribe to Xia's OnlyFans. He gives me that vibe,
Yeah, but he's not Asian, and he's not...
Yeah, true story, right? I didn't know if you were gonna embrace that.
He's still yes, he does. I noticed I got a renewal thing from him that he does subscribe.
Was it at least a high school music teacher, or is it creepy in that it was middle school?
It was a high school music teacher.
Okay, well, at least there's that.
I guess.
So the proof there is that the world of bears can be extra creepy. And here they are talking about a certain time of year for the bears at the Louisville Zoo.
Louisville Zoo's male polar bear, Bo, last year. He's ready to meet his mate, Kunnick, which means that we could soon get some cubs. The zoo tells us that the two have been gradually introduced to one another under the watchful eye of experts, and now officials tell us that Kunnick is showing signs that it's okay to remove the physical barriers between the two, which is just in time for what zoo experts call courting season.
Barriers.
Yeah. They've moved the physical barriers. It's courting season for the bears. The thing that really jumped out at me when I saw this was under observation. So there's someone whose job is bear fucking monitor. Like they have to sit and watch the bears. Like, no, they ain't fucking yet. I don't know. Do we show them some bear porn? I don't really know.
Well, there are entire jobs dedicated to making sure that pandas fuck, because otherwise they would be completely extinct. Humans have to make pandas mate.
Yeah. Well, and I guess you kind of have to do that with this as well. And speaking of creeps who work with bears,
we started seeing some of the behavior signs we look for.
Another bear
from female polar bears that lets us know she would be okay if we open the door.
Oh boy, would she be okay if she opened the door? See, this is our theme for the entire.
On his face too. He's like,
It's kind of a great freeze frame. She'd be okay if we opened the doors. Look, this is just keeping with our theme of whores. For this
great theme for a great show, and I'm honored that you had me on the horror episode.
Yeah. Well, speaking of whores, we do have to hit a landmark over in local news.
WATB, who are these local news? Who are these local newscasters?
So here at the show, we play a lot of clips from the Fox Philadelphia morning show. In this one, the male anchor commemorates a truly devastating loss to two of the most important communities in the United States, communities that I think our country was built on the back of, the creeper community and, of course, the gooning community.
Everybody here in the studio, a moment of silence. Hooters is closing.
Look, I'm on the side of this guy. This is a travesty.
Yeah, and you're going to find out that the female anchor is not taking this well either.
What?
Maybe.
I did love their wings days.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to give a quick little fact to any of the ladies out there. The wings aren't that good. They're okay. I'm not saying they're terrible, but Buffalo Wild Wings is better. They're not actually that great. Hooters is basically an excuse to go to a family-friendly wet T-shirt contest.
Yeah, but you know what? I feel like eventually the quality of girls getting hired went downhill. It used to be they would hire really hot girls, and then at some point they stopped being hot, and then they stopped hiring girls with boobs even.
Yeah. I know, you could have gotten a job there 5 years ago.
Which is unacceptable, by the way. Completely unacceptable. You cannot have a restaurant called Hooters and then hire someone like me pre-boobs. You can't do it. I'm sorry.
Now you'd be great for it. But
yeah,
back
now
then,
it's fine.
It's funny because this reminds me the saddest trip I ever took to Hooters was a group of us from a show I was working on, and after lunch, the waitress apologized. He said, "Yeah, hey, I'm sorry if I haven't been that much fun, but my dad just died." Now, you were a waitress, as you mentioned.
I was.
How effective do you think that would be? Did she expect maybe more of a tip because she mentioned that her dad died? You tell me, is that some like unspoken thing in the waitress community that if you mention a family loss, they'll be like, oh my gosh, well, at least a 40% tip for that.
I mean, Jesus, I've never done that before. So that's a little bit like you mentioned when it's your birthday, if you have to work on your birthday, always mention that it's your birthday, because that legitimately does help. Some people will be like, oh, and then, but I've never mentioned it. Well, I've never, I guess, had a family member die while I was waiting tables, but I don't know if I'd bring that up. That's
doesn't seem like it's worth bringing up.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that's a little too much.
Yeah.
Slow
All
down a
right.
little
I'm
too
glad you're on the same page, but I didn't know. Maybe you know, who knows? You could have worked with somebody who's like, oh no, that totally works. I have at least 40 relatives a year that I pretend died. Well, thank you for that. Yeah. So RIP to Hooters. But it's only going to be better for the nation's strip clubs, I guess, if Hooters is no longer an option, and really for OnlyFans, Xia on OnlyFans.
Thank you.
Obviously, people who know you and I know you. One of the things that I appreciate about you is that you are very smart and very well read. Here's someone who got a very different crown bestowed upon their head by the internet.
The internet has already dubbed the Whataburger worker one of the dumbest criminals after she allegedly used stolen credit card information from a drive-through customer to pay her own court fines. The
story goes on, but of all the things that you do when you work somewhere that people are giving you credit card information, if you steal it, buy like I don't know, a big screen TV in another state. But what you shouldn't do is pay for your court fines.
Wow, that really is something else. Even ordering online, it's your name and your address, so that's pretty easy to track. But actual court, Jesus Christ, that's so okay.
So I wanted to show her off that in case you think that, does she seem like, and again, our visual audience is the only ones can appreciate this. Does she seem like somebody who would steal your credit card at Whataburger and then use it to pay her court fees?
I really wish I could say no.
Yeah.
I want to say no.
There's really only one answer there. I love that story. That's the meat of it. By the way, the one pun. Zayn picked a bad day to go have his butt cleaned. There is 0% chance his butt is getting any cleaner than it was yesterday. I would say 0.0% chance. I need to share one of the most interesting road rage videos I've ever seen. This happened in Virginia.
I'm gonna kill you!
So the first thing we get is this woman is on a hood, and I'm just going to say this isn't her best angle. And you did hear what she yelled at the driver.
She did say, I'm going to kill you. Is that what
I'm going to kill you. Yes, is what she said.
Okay.
Which I think on YouTube we should say, I'm going to unalive you.
I'm going to Minecraft you.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Right.
I'm gonna kill you!
This scary moment for Ashen Miano started with a close call. She says she honked her horn after a car pulled out right in front of her at the Walden Pond Apartments.
So this is just a car that kind of cut her off and she honked. I think most of us do that. And it results in her climbing all over her windshield. And wait, there's more.
Lakeside Drive.
She was relatively close. I had to brake pretty hard to avoid hitting her. And so I laid on my horn for like a second or two. And then she just immediately slammed on brakes.
That's when things escalated to her banging up the car and yelling out threats and obscenities.
At what point she ripped my windshield wiper off. At one point she busted the windshield.
So she takes her windshield wiper and she's pistol whipping her windshield. Zia, have you ever been this angry in traffic?
No, and I'm an angry driver too.
Yeah, I know.
Not like so angry that
I've been on the roads of New Jersey with you. I know.
I'm not like screaming at people, but the annoyance that I have for people who are in the left lane and who aren't passing is like nothing else. Like I will yell in my car and be like, the fuck are you doing? Same thing, with people who pull out in front of you, people who don't use their blinkers. Like there's a lot of really bad drivers. And yes, in New Jersey, there are some bad drivers. I've never been angry enough to get out of the car and climb on someone else's car and start bashing their windshield.
Yeah.
This lady, either there's mental illness here or she had to have had just like the worst day. Like she found out her husband was cheating on her with some, 20-year-old woman and like lost the house. Like something had to have happened to have led up to this because it can't just be this.
Yeah, it could definitely be one of those, some from column A, some from column B. She could have mental duress and then also have had a particularly bad day.
Miano says through it all, she was just focused on getting home safely to her family.
There's no calming down the situation when people are that upset.
Police say the woman on the hood is Nancy Campanino.
Give me that!
During the incident, Miano says multiple cars pulled over to help.
The Good Samaritan is why I'm still playing this.
That includes one man who took Campanino's keys out of her car.
She eventually, after she broke my windshield, did try to get back in her car and drive off. When she realized she couldn't do that, she got back out of her car and approached him.
Miano says he put Campanino into a hold until police arrived shortly after and took her into custody.
Yeah, so I like that the guy just puts her in a chokehold. Is like, yeah, this bitch isn't getting away with it. How would you describe those eyes, Lisa? Lisa, sorry.
Lisa.
Zia, yeah.
Those are some crazy eyes.
Yeah, those are some incredible eyes.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, very rarely do you see someone and you go like, yeah, they look like somebody that would be ripping off windshield wipers and pounding on a windshield. I've got one more local news story. This is from Great Adventure in New Jersey. Said goodbye to the world's biggest roller coaster, King Ka.
There it goes!
My apologies. I showed the wrong video. That's a video of me on prom night and my wedding night and my birthday, and keeping with the theme, every lap dance I've ever gotten. Yeah. So RIP. I lied when I said that was the last video. Xia, how's your anxiety these days? I haven't gotten one of those calls like I used to. So are you managing it well?
Oh, no, it's the same as it always is.
Okay. Well, then this isn't going to help. Here's some window washers who are doing their job.
Dude, this is wild. Whatever they're getting paid, it's not enough.
It's not enough. They are
enough.
literally
Jesus.
dangling and swaying all around. I'm told that neither of them are hurt. Everybody was okay. But
oh my God.
when I knew I was going to be doing this show with you, I was like, oh, there's no one who less wants to watch these window washers dangle about and sway
Jesus
all around.
Christ, that's insane.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. That's in New York City. So we've got a couple of member chats. Prairie Judge says, I love the it's a passing lane argument when zero of them go back to the right lane.
But it is a passing lane, and you are supposed to be hauling ass in that lane. Slower traffic's supposed to keep right. Usually the reason that people stay in the left lane as long as they're going fast is because they're still passing people on the right.
Right. No, exactly. And I do tend to drive in the fast lane, but it's because I drive way over the speed limit.
Exactly.
Like,
I'm going like 90.
Yeah.
That's
by the way, Pete Czar, member for 18 months, is trying to trick me into saying something that most people in the chat would understand. It'll be lost on Xia. He wants me to say Chase Utley did nothing wrong. It's a baseball reference. A guy who was just a true asshole on the Philadelphia Phillies and later on the Dodgers. So well done. Speaking of sports.
Who are these sports? You know what I'm saying? Who are these sports? Let's see who's playing. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? No, I don't know what's the side.
By the way, I'd like to ask Xia, what do you think of the jingles on this show? Do you find them too loud? Our mutual friend Eric Nagel feels like they're way too loud. Eric Zane and I feel like they're not loud enough. I keep meaning to go in and make them just a little bit louder.
No, I like it. It's great. It's perfect. It's the perfect. You could go a little louder, actually.
All right. Well, I appreciate the feedback. Now, don't worry. I'm not going to bombard you with a ton of sports clips. I'm really just dealing with one instance. There was some major news as it related to international diplomacy. Before a WWE event in Canada, something happened. Now, because it's the WWE, I can't share the actual performance of the Star Spangled Banner that the Canadians booed. For Carl, I'm sure you're watching either now or later. I did take the time to upload these clips and find out, yes, indeed, they would have gotten flagged and you would have been a content violation. You wouldn't have gotten struck. So I'm not playing the WWE content. But fortunately, USA Today had fan filmed footage of Canadians during the U.S. national anthem. I love that this cameraman is just shaking his head while the Canadians are booing during the national anthem. This chick's just there trying to sing, you know. It's a gig,
You
and
could just solve it by not like going to Canada anymore.
well,
Just don't go.
yeah, I know. Who needed to have a WWE event in Toronto in March? So for the same reasons, I can't play Pat McAfee on that broadcast saying it's too bad this event is happening in the terrible country of Canada, who just booed our national anthem. That's pretty much word for word what he said, because I have the clip. I just cannot show it. But what I can show is Pat McAfee on his ESPN show, I guess the next day, the day after, he takes the time to issue what some people would consider an apology.
Entire life, my first reaction when somebody boos the national anthem is, fuck you.
Yeah.
Okay, that is...
Yeah. So did that sound like an apology to you, Xia?
Nope, I love it.
Okay,
Good for
I
him.
do too. I enjoy Pat McAfee. Not everyone does, but
I do. Nick will watch his stuff. I mean, I don't watch it on my own, but Nick watches it sometimes, and he's very entertaining.
He's very entertaining.
Yeah.
And he does his show on YouTube, and they simulcast it on ESPN. Obviously, I just played this from the YouTube feed. This did not go out over ESPN, but he does continue.
Members. I've been to a lot of bases. I know Gold Star families. I know people that have been affected for fighting for our country that really see the national anthem as like hey, this is our shit. So anytime I've ever heard somebody boo our national anthem, my natural reaction is, let's fight. That is literally my natural reaction. Now, a lot of Canadians have told me, why don't you do a little investigating on why we're booing? Okay, did you hear what your president said? Okay, listen, I understand there's political differences at the current moment between us and Canada. But I feel like anytime I think of Canada, I don't think of what Justin Trudeau does. I don't think immediately of Justin Trudeau's decisions. I don't think immediately of what Canada is doing in the political sphere. I think of the people of Canada. I think of Gumpy. I think of Poutine. I think of the magical times that I had up in Niagara Falls as a teenager.
Yeah, so, he's basically saying like, hey, Canada, let's shake on it. I didn't appreciate the people booing. And, I guess ESPN's on in Canada. What do you feel? Do you feel like he needed to apologize to Canada?
No. No, none of what he said was even that shocking.
No.
It was very whatever. But I also agree. I don't even know what Canada's doing politically.
No, we don't care.
No one cares.
My favorite Canadian is also my favorite potato, the Great Cardiff Electric. I usually don't know what's going on.
No clue.
And I don't know how well he knows. So our final sports clip is unrelated to this, but someone that we have featured on this show a few times did have an opinion on Pat McAfee that was making some headlines, and no one had the clip. So I had to do some work, Xia. I had to go to the radio station's website and clip it myself. This is Fred Toucher in Boston, used to do a show called Toucher and Rich, and I actually forget the name of his current co-host. And he weighs in on Pat McAfee having the scoop that, that Travis Kelce would be returning next season.
Pat McAfee sucks. And if you listen to him, you're an idiot. You really might be an idiot. And the best is you don't get it. Oh no, I get it. He works for Disney. This isn't some guy on a pirate radio here changing the way the game's played. I guess I get that he can say the S word, and that's tremendous. It's very exciting.
I mean, it is. It is exciting.
I could hear that from any kid, but I can hear it from Pat McAfee. I am jealous about how he leveraged garbage views on YouTube into a really lucrative TV gig. That I am jealous of, because again, if I was running ESPN, I'd go, what is everyone talking about? Oh, his Aaron Rodgers interviews. I think he was brilliant to pay Aaron Rodgers $1 million a year to do his show, because that's the only thing people talked about. He sucks. Bad.
So this is a guy who's in one market. It's a big market for sports talk He's in Boston. They probably syndicated around New England. But I'm going to disagree with Fred Toucher because as we were talking about, I do enjoy Pat McAfee. I find him to be very entertaining and kind of really revolutionize sports talk. I wish he'd sit down. It makes me nervous. You know, I know things you get anxiety about. Him standing to do his show, it makes me so nervous. I
like it.
Oh,
I
no,
like that he stands. I like the energy. You want him to be sitting? I like the energy he has, and I also like that he seems like a real person.
Yeah, well, that's true. He does. All of those things are true. Well, Xia, we're to our final segment here on the show, and it's a big one. It's an important one. We always take the time to look at great moments in broadcast history.
WPTB, who are these broadcast history? Who are these broadcast history?
By the way, Hamilton Berger, who is up there in Canada, does point out that Canada boos because it's the only fun that Justin Trudeau allows. You know, that actually explains a lot. And Hamilton Berger, you're number 2 right after the Great Cardiff Electric, obviously. You are my second favorite Canadian.
I know some lovely, wonderful Canadians.
Oh, X-Ray Girl. I like her.
X-Ray Girl.
You know I like you. You know I like you.
I know you like her. The only time you watch my shows when X-Ray Girl.
Boy, do I like X-Ray Girl. Yeah. In any case, so there's a couple of things that I want to get to here. The first is they did talk about it. It's going to be a little bit of a movie theme here. They mentioned during the Oscars. We lost the great Gene Hackman, and he has. Here's a great interaction he had with Letterman. This just made me laugh. So I thought that was a nice way to remember the passing of Gene Hackman, who I think people are talking about some of his great roles, and all of them are accurate. I just wish more people were talking about what a great Lex Luthor he was. To date, still the only good Lex Luthor that we've had. And I think that he was the first person to take a comic book villain and really inhabit it in a way that Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger wouldn't have been able to do it without him. But that's just me. I'm off my Gene Hackman soapbox. Here he is talking to Letterman.
Yeah, I was in the Marines.
Yeah.
I'd gone in when I was 16.
What were the circumstances leading up to the decision a 16-year-old kid makes about going into the Marine Corps for you?
I couldn't get laid, you know, and
You know, I couldn't either, but I thought maybe scouting would help.
Which is a really curious joke from Dave because scouting is also not a good place to get laid. But let's let the greatest criminal mind of the 20th century, Mr. Lex Luthor, continue.
I had tried scouting.
Go to the Marine Corps. Yeah. Damn.
Well, no, I just wanted to get out of town. Really, Marine Corps happened to be the only place that would send me. You know, and I was just 16. And
was that part of basic training? Good Lord,
No, I heard that they would send you to China, and I knew that was possible there, you know.
Well, you know, I latched onto that as soon as I heard Gene Hackman say that. Like, China? Yeah.
Have you saw his wife, yes?
Well, not the most recent photo, no. But yeah, no, I know. It's a very sad story. That's why I'm able to enjoy this.
I don't understand that, but you were in from the age of 16 to when?
16 till I was in 5 years.
Yeah.
It took a while.
Great experience? Oh, I see. You stay in until you complete the mission. Yeah.
So poor Gene Hackman, he joins the Marines at 16, and it takes him 5 years to get laid. Not something I can relate to, Xia.
No, not you.
Keeping on our movie theme, I found something that it's perfect for this week. I have to shout out, I believe it's the Found Footage Festival for epic outtakes of Siskel and Ebert. So the crown princes of movie reviews. Xia, did you know that Siskel and Ebert didn't just hate each other? They hated each other.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, go figure. Think about every single couple of people that work together for any length of time. They hate each other. Opie and Anthony.
Wait a minute. We worked together for a long time.
I mean, yeah, that was going to be my second.
Oh, this is really sad. Yeah. Well, at least Opie's still out there, unleashed in NYC. And,
he's doing his thing.
He sure is. All right. So here are some amazing outtakes of Siskel and Ebert.
No, this is
not. Don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah, so they're talking about whether or not Roger is wearing the same thing that he wore during the promos for last week. So just the commercials for the show. This isn't even the show. They're filming the promos. And so I forgot that I needed to set that up.
wearing last week? No,
No,
this
it's
is
not. Don't worry about it.
I know, he was wearing a brown sweater. This is not the part that's supposed to match, Slick. Give it a moment's thought. What are we doing now?
You call him Slick.
The promo.
I do like that he's like, it's not what you need, Slick. It's like, this is like the only time probably in his entire life that Roger Ebert talked like a tough guy, was trying to bully this nerd behind him, Gene Siskel. He's like, don't worry about it, Slick. What are we doing now? We're just doing the promos.
Do you know what they have to match? Nothing. No promo ever has to match anything. I thought we were about to do... Welcome to the exciting world of television. A wholly new field for you to begin to learn in. Well spoken, Roger.
Wow.
Well, that's something that you rarely hear. Compliments really paid to you.
He just keeps piling on.
Wow.
It's like you and I when we used to stand in that closet and record Marvel News Daily. We would record this like 90-second piece, and it took forever. We were standing there making fun of each other.
Yeah, I feel like we really worried. Not only did we worry Will, but we worried Ryan as well. I feel like a lot of the time.
Poor Ryan and poor Vito as well. Yeah, they were never. Shout out to everybody at AfterBuzz who really got stressed out. Yeah, no. Our friendship has seemed very problematic to a lot of people. You know, my buddy Will Sterling that I started the Blackcast with, he still doesn't get it. He's still really worried about the way that I talk to you, and I don't think that this week is going to help that at all.
No, he's gonna. If he watches this, he's gonna be like, "Oh God, they're still at it." And then Jeff, who doesn't think that Chip is a real person.
Let's see the end of this one.
Gene Hackman and Kevin Costner in the Pentagon thriller No Way Out. That's this week on Siskel and Ebert.
Well, it was worth it because it was fucking gold when they did it. All right, I have one more, and I'm not gonna lie, I like this one even more. I had to show both of these.
Why does this always have to be lockstep? How about something like this? It's Thriller Week on Siskel and Ebert, and we've got 3 big ones, and then 3 one-liners. Dennis Quaid in The Big Easy, Michael Caine in The Fourth Protocol, so-and-so in No Way Out. That's a better promo.
Yeah, great. It's a better promo. All right, perfect.
Okay. Ready? I guess you're going to do it. We have to rewrite it, don't we? Because you can't. You can't ad-lib, Gene.
I don't want to rewrite it. You can't ad-lib, Gene.
Can we for the last week, and next week we'll do it. Next year we'll do it next year. No, every week counts. You read it then. You ad-lib it. I'll do nothing. Let him do whatever he wants. This is going to be today's That's why theme. I think we ought to write it into the... No, let him do it. It's Thriller Week on Siskel and Ebert in the movies, and we've got 3 new ones.
So I love that after all that, it's a jump cut, and Gene ends up doing it anyway. But don't worry, there's more.
I think we ought to write it into the... No, let him do it. It's Thriller Week on Siskel and Ebert in the movies, and we've got 3 new ones. Got to have energy up and the movies out. Why don't you read both parts? I'd like to. Sound a little excited, Gene. Sound less excited, Roger.
That might be my favorite human interaction in the entire history of the world, not just broadcasting. Sound a little excited, Gene. Sound a little less excited, Roger.
They just fucking hate each other. It's true.
I knew you were going to love these. That's why I made sure that I fit this in this week.
That's why we're redoing it, because of what you did. It's Thriller Week on Siskel and Ebert at the movies, and we've got 3 new ones. And the movies, not at the movies. And that's why we're redoing it this time. That's this week on Siskel and Ebert and the movies. And the asshole. And that's Roger.
I mean, is there anything more perfect than that? I mean,
and the asshole.
And the asshole. And yeah, Found Footage Fest is where that came from. And huge shout out to them. Definitely subscribe to them. I could not believe that when that popped up in my feed. And I just absolutely love that. So I hope that the chat enjoyed it as much as we did. Now, Xia, before we go, and I know you've given up a lot of your time. Look, I know that some of the audience here knows you from all the years that I pressured you into doing my podcast, The Blackcast, and there's some there's some who remember our many, and I do mean many shows at AfterBuzz TV. I mean, Daredevil, Jessica Jones. I think we even did Iron Fist. We did it all.
We did the second season of Iron Fist. How many seasons did we get? Second season of Iron Fist, third season of Daredevil.
Yeah, and third season of Jessica Jones. I think we did. We did every episode, and it wasn't like let's just do a recap special. You had to do an hour for each hour episode.
Oh yeah, no, we did everything.
Yeah. So obviously that's how some people know you, but most people that are watching right now fell in love with Xia Anderson on the Chip Chipperson Pod-a-cast, a show that I miss more than any other. So I just wanted to share a couple of my favorite moments.
Juxtaposition is unreal.
The what?
Juxtaposition. The juxtaposition. The juxtaposition.
That's my least favorite position, personally.
What's the juxtaposition?
The position that's in the juxta.
You're perfect for this podcast.
There's nothing better to be told by Chip than you're perfect for this podcast.
So
happy. So that was a really nice one. But you've known me long enough to know that I probably have one that might make you look a little bit more foolish.
Oh, please
let's
tell
be
me
honest.
it's not the AIDS one.
No. I gotta find that one for this. So in true Chip fashion, it's always perfect for the show. There's never a bad moment on the Chip Chipperson Pod-a-cast.
Love this
But
podcast so
this is actually from the same episode.
Here's Slim Shady.
The real Slim Shady?
Yup.
Yeah.
That's his alter ego. That's where he gets a lot of his anger out.
Fucking Stan.
Yeah.
Went in the water. Fuck, that was you.
I heard he stood up.
We're just gonna sit here, enjoy the quiet.
I miss it so much.
We're just gonna sit here and enjoy the quiet. And I have to call out, by the way, the fact that Zach Amico's in this episode.
Oh, I love Zach.
There was no one like Kumi was great on the show. No one got the show perfectly the way Zach Amico does.
Zach was fantastic.
There was never a wasted moment with Zach Amico on the show. Let's see how the rest of this goes.
No, he went in the water.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Oh, that was you."
Oh man.
But I don't know how he got the tape sent to him.
No.
It went in the water.
They must have scubaed it out.
I never knew how that got to him.
Right.
So that didn't have as much to do with you. But I love the way that Chip's like, yeah, that's a problem with the song. So obviously, look, we're glad that Jim is doing all the things that he does now. His show with Nikki Norton is great. I like his advice show. But there is nothing like the Chip Chipperson Pod-a-cast. And Xia, you've also known me long enough to know that I wouldn't only bring one clip that makes you foolish. I have one more.
Another one.
They're getting close now, no?
Yeah, they are. Aren't they working on chips that go in your spine
What's
or
that?
some shit?
Oh, Yuma chips.
So I put this beginning part because it's my favorite thing from the show. They put chips. What's that? Oh, Yuma chips.
Make everybody funny.
Yeah, fuck yeah, I'll go in your spine. God. I'll come back and put something.
We'll come back to it. We'll come back to it. That's fine.
God damn it, I had something.
That's all right. It happens.
Go in like a tap.
What?
Like a tap. Spinal tap.
I don't understand.
Okay.
Get all up in there.
To a spine?
Go to 11.
I don't understand.
It's all right.
Yeah, like I'll fuck you so hard you feel it in your spine.
There you go.
Shout out to Ian Finance trying to help you there.
Oh, he was a sweet boy.
a joke that just doesn't go anywhere is in a lot of ways with Chip better than delivering an actual home run.
That's the whole podcast. I love it so much. I miss it. I really was made for that show.
You really were. I mean,
It was perfect.
when you started doing it, I'm like, I would message you like it's perfect. You were perfect for that show. And anytime Chip comes back, obviously the world will be a better place for it. You know,
We've talked about it.
Really?
Yeah, we've actually had conversations about it. At the end of last year, he thought he might bring it back. But I don't know. I know he's busy doing his other stuff, but it's not like off the table. It's just.
I think it would just be amazing for those of us who subscribe to either the YouTube or the podcast feed. Just one day, all of a sudden, boom, there's a new episode in there, and you're like, oh my God.
Oh, God. I forgot how. God, I didn't forget how much fun it was. I just had so much fun doing it.
Yeah.
But it after, it's been off the air for a couple of years. My favorite is Flutzy.
Flutzy was good on that show, yeah.
But no, this is a behind the scenes for Flutzy. This made me laugh so hard. So I had asked her a couple of times to be on. I would help Jim book just in the sense of like, he'd be like, hey, can you get this?
I'm sorry, you would help Chip book.
I would help Chip book.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Excuse me. I would help Chip book. But just in the sense where he would tell me like, hey, can you reach out to this person? What do you think about this person? And I would just reach out. Like I didn't decide who was on the show, but I would reach out to people for him. And Flutzy was one that he's like, oh, we haven't had Flutzy on in a while. See if she's available. I'm like, yeah, sure. So I'd message Flutzy to come on and she was busy for a while. So she made it once and then she had to say no a couple of times. And then she messaged me one day and was like, and this was, I want to say about a year after Chip had ended. And she was like, hey, I can come on Chip anytime. And I had to mess back. I was like, Flutzy, the podcast has been done for like a year. And she was like, oh,
yeah, oh, I'm ready now.
She's like, I'm ready. I was like, okay, well, that was a year ago. So,
well, obviously there are plenty of us who loved it. And the fact that I had an excuse to dig around, you might not be surprised, Xia, but I had sent myself an email of links to you bombing on Chip because I knew at some point I would need to show those. I'm going to have to find out about this AIDS
one.
Yeah, it's fine. If it
is a promo.
That's okay. That's going to make it a lot easier. All right, I appreciate that. So I'll have that for next time. Xia, I do want to thank you so much for sitting in here. I know this had been in the works for a very long time. I'm glad you were able to do it. It was so much fun to watch people in Hollywood be terrible and crazy women jumping on hoods and so much fun stuff. So please let everybody know all the places, like I said earlier, all the places you can be found.
Thank you for having me on, first of all. It has been too long and things have like finally, I don't want to say slowed down, but they're not as hectic as they were. I'm never buying a house again. Let's just say that.
No.
That was a mistake.
Yeah, I have 2. I would like to have 0.
Oh, you still have the other one?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, the townhouse. I mean, well, you're renting it out though, right?
I am.
Good. Yeah, but you still have to be in charge of fixing it. Anyway, let's not get to that.
We're renting it out to family, so it's not like we're making real money on it.
Ugh, yep, there you go.
All right.
Anyway, that whole fucking headache. I'm done with it. So yeah, things have slowed down a little bit. So it's nice to actually sit down and do a show with you. All jokes aside, it's been a hot minute. And
all kidding aside,
I didn't agree to that. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of content.
So many hours. And
dude, I don't know, so many.
And we would go to that 7-Eleven across the street, and only once did we ever find the Slurpee cookie. Dude, I've still never seen the rest of my life. I've still never seen the Slurpee cookie.
Same. Every time I go into a fucking 7-Eleven, I check the counter for the Slurpee cookies, and they've never had one again. And it was the best cookie.
I stop at that 7-Eleven specifically because I'm like, they've had it before. They must have. They don't have it.
I don't know why they would do that to us. Was that like a random multiverse fucking moment where we
went into
a different timeline?
All right. Now all the non-nerds are like, all right, well, I guess.
All right. So anyway,
I guess it's time to tap out.
Anyway.
Well, I look forward to, look, it shouldn't always be me texting you to say like, hey, come on some dumb podcast. I am going to have to do a better job of texting you. And don't worry, I'm not going to be back on the East Coast making you hang out with me this year. Those were always fun when I was like, I don't care what you're doing. We're going to hang out. I was happy. Yeah, I would have to drive a lot further. I was happy to be on Unqualified Experts. I don't know if you're still doing that, but I'm sure the episodes are still there. People can find that show. I think it's a really fun idea. People mentioned, you mentioned Zealand on OnlyFans and Fansly. Talk for a quick moment about Unqualified Experts because I love the concept and I think it's a great show.
That was actually my husband's idea, the Unqualified Experts. He,
All right, then we don't have to talk about. No, I'm just kidding.
This was his idea. It's a really good idea. Just basically answering questions from the internet. And I've had different comedians on. Now I have just different streamers on. We do still do it. I do it live now though. And it's Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern. We do Unqualified Experts and we'll have different people on. And the answers to the questions can be joke answers or they can be real answers. You can act like you're giving real advice. But going through the internet and looking at the shit that people are writing in about, I know some of them have to be rage bait. I know they have to be, but living on this earth for as many years as you do, and you hear the situations that people get themselves into, I do believe a lot of them, and they're fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it was fun. I was trying to remember, but there were people with, of course, sexual problems when I was on.
Lots of sexual problems.
Yeah.
That's a big issue.
By the way, people really enjoyed seeing some Chip.
Dirty fatty.
And he did throw in a what's that? Prairie Judge says, "What kind of name is Xia? Did Elon name you?"
Oh God, I wish I would have a super eccentric billionaire father. I have a super eccentric father, but he's not a billionaire, unfortunately.
Khan says Xia has better hair and cleavage than Eric Zane. I definitely agree. Hamilton Berger, in terms of the poor chat, you have won the poor chat. Zia's cleavage grew 3 sizes that day after eating the Slurpee cookie. And
the source of all my power.
The great Kyle Bellarda says, "I think it's cute that Xia and Christian are actually good friends."
Don't tell anyone.
Don't tell the world. It works a lot better where we're just bitter rivals and just the most angry enemies.
We don't hang out or talk in person ever. We never did that.
It used to happen when you lived in LA. By the way, I didn't get the super chat, and I'm sorry, Duke of the Delusional. I actually don't know what you were talking about. A bit backed up. 4 is not too many. I have 6. If it's inches, 6 sounds like it's inhuman. There's no man that has 6 inches. I don't think it's possible.
No,
right, Xia? That doesn't happen.
Yeah, that doesn't exist at all.
Okay. All right. Good. I was a little nervous for a minute there. So we got all the plugs in. We did everything, and again, so much fun to have you here.
Thank you.
I will promote myself. You can find my personal podcast, The Blackcast. As I was mentioning earlier, we did our Oscars special on Monday. Fans of this channel appreciate that the great Lucy Tightbox was on. The less good. Yep.
I'm sorry, you can't say that.
Lucy Tightbox. That's her professional name. Kaylee from Once Over with Kaylee. She's a go-go dancer for my favorite surf punk rock instrumental band, the Ice.
That is the best name in the fucking world. That's her real actual name.
No, her name is Kaylee. But Lucy Tightbox is her stage name.
That's so good.
You will appreciate this. I'll clip it and send it to her. So she was there along with Liam McEnany and my friend Eric. You can find that on the YouTube channel or the audio feed. I've done specials about 50 years of Saturday Night Live, the 50th anniversary of Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare. So you can find that. I've gotten some real guests for some of these shows. In any case, I'm going to make sure we don't have any last minute super chats because that happens sometimes on this show. And actually, I'm glad I checked. Frank S. with $20. All of a sudden, you just ripped the crown from Corn Diff. I'm sorry, Corn Diff. We did show yours a couple of times, but Frank S. Thanks for the $20. This is my first time here, but any friend of Xia is a friend of mine. What about any enemy of Xia's is a friend of yours? And I feel bad for Corn Diff because I was literally about to put him on the screen, so he's back. But thank you so much, Frank S. We appreciate that. Having the big crown. That is all the time for now. As always, this is Christian Blatt reminding you, every mic is a hot mic, but this is my first time here. But any friend of Xia's is a friend of mine.